most of my patients, the reason why I would ever advise them to go on this medication is when everything is dialed in, their nutrition, their exercise, their sleep, everything is perfect, but they do not see the results that they want to see because they have been in this state of eating everything, not being acting for so long that now, even though they are doing everything right, and it needs to be at least for 6 months, it's not like, oh, I have done it for a week and then, I don't see results. No, it needs to be for some time.
I was just about to ask how you can control it if they are actually doing what they're supposed to.
Well, that's their responsibility. My responsibility here is to tell you everything what you need to be doing. I will give you all of the tools because again, medications are tools. It's not a magic pill. It's a tool for you to get where you are supposed to be. I'm not talking about a girl that wants to lose another 4 kilos just to look nice in that bikini. We are talking about people that are in their 20s. They weigh 150 kilos with 56% of body fat that are actually in metabolic complete disaster.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm here with Sophie. Sophie is our neighbor, friend. We walk our dogs together.
Yeah,
and
dogs like each other.
Dog life, yeah. And Sophie is a nurse in somewhat. Can you explain what you actually do?
So I'm a nurse manager in GluCare. It's a diabetic center, but it's not just diabetes. It's endocrinology, cardiology, bariatric surgery, obesity management clinic. So it's kind of a holistic approach towards all the endocrine pathologies. And that's what I do right now.
Yeah, so she's dealing with a lot of interesting cases, and she's seeing the bad lifestyle choices being projected to later health issues every day to a degree that, normal people can't even imagine, right? Until it's somewhat involving them as well or in the family. Anyway, we'll talk all about all this. I just want you to give me a little bit of history of you, your fitness when you were bringing up, because you're fairly fit, yeah, very fit. And how do you get where you are, also professional wise, but also fitness wise?
Sure. So I'm from a very small country in Eastern Europe, Moldova. A lot of people don't even know that this country exists.
When you say small, how many?
Our population is, I think, 3 million, something like that. So the entire country is only 3 million.
Well, that's smaller than Slovakia.
Yeah, it's a very small country. It's a small country between Ukraine, Romania. We don't have access to sea, so it's all just pure land. And it's very beautiful nature-wise. Economically, unfortunately, it's not that great. That's why many people are traveling outside the country in pursuit of a better future, better opportunities, anything like that.
So it's very common that people go out, yeah?
Yeah. So I've been in Dubai for 10 years, and back home, I graduated National College of Nursing and Pharmacology. And at that time, my mom asked me, what do I want to do? Do I prefer to work with people, or do I prefer to work with chemicals and compounds and things like that?
Or more lab work.
Yeah. At that time, for me, it was more interesting to work with people, so I chose nursing. And I did not realize up until the second year, when we started to have real practice, how much I was actually enjoying it. Because first you have a lot of theory. You need to do anything practical, you need to know in theory how it works. So we we did a lot of microbiology and all the basics and fundamentals of nursing, but you don't really get to work with people in the first 2 years. And when we got into our first assignments in the hospitals to do for surgical, for like basic nursing care, you don't understand how much you actually enjoy it. And then I think that for me, the best moment when I realized how much I like medicine was when we were in one of our assignments. It was for a surgical case, and I was working together with an anesthetist and a surgeon. And for some reason, I was really in good relationship with the head of surgery, so he would take me to all of his surgeries. And it was in
Just like come and look.
yeah. Like
Oh, nice.
come look, see what the nurses are doing in operating theater, what the anesthetists are doing, just to choose your path. Where do you want to go? Because I was like 17 at that time, so
Okay.
it's just the beginning of your journey. You don't really know what you want to do. Like you have this vague idea of what is medicine, what is nursing, but you don't really know what it is. So we were together in his operating theater, and there was this patient that had a tumor on his rib that was really, really big. I did not know how big it is until I saw it. So he was opening the patient, and he would need to cut the rib. And when he removed the rib, on the inner part of the rib, the tumor was as the size of my fist. And through that opening of the rib, you could see how the lungs are moving with every breath that he takes. And it was amazing. It was one of the best things and best moments that I have had up until that moment. And I realized that I really, really want to be in medicine. I really want to do that. And every next case was more interesting. And then what got me...
So seeing naked lungs, breathing.
Hearts, lungs, all the inner organs. But what got me into nursing and appreciating how important it is for someone to actually get better was the aftercare, because you can perform the best surgery, you can have the best technique, and everything can be spotless. But if the aftercare is not there, the rate of success will be quite low. And to teach these patients how to take care of themselves, some patients to teach them to walk again, to hold the knife and the fork, and just to do basic daily activities, you understand how much time it takes, how much effort, dedication. And those nurses are really, really badass back home, because you have all sort of patients that will be angry, that will be really grumpy and bad with you and bad mouthing you just because they're not in the mood. And you still need to find that power within you just to keep calm and give them the opportunity to vent sometimes, and then find a way how to get to them, to understand that you need to change your life if you want to actually survive and if you want to actually live a better life.
You somewhat already hinted this question from my side. You said that you were studying it, you didn't really have a really idea what nursing might be about. And I know from our talks that a general idea of what nurses are supposed to be doing and what is their responsibility is very different from the reality. So can you explain that? Like, what is the difference between general idea what people think nurses are doing and what you are actually doing and what the responsibilities are?
So the the understanding of the general population of what nurses do for most of the times is coming from, I don't know, TV series and dramas, and maybe someone had some experience from
Like,
previously.
they took my blood, yeah.
Yeah, they took my blood. That's it. This is what a nurse does. And yes, we take blood, but it's just a teeny tiny part of what we do. So to be a good nurse, and this is what I am teaching all of my nurses, is that you need to be compassionate, you need to be really, really patient, and you need to be extremely knowledgeable, because what we need to know is all the medications, what they are doing, what are their side effects, what is the pharmacology, or what is the mechanism of action, what are the interactions with different foods, with different drugs, what long-term effects these medications will have, what short-term effects these medications will have. Any procedures, what are the upsides and downsides, what to do to prevent a certain condition that a patient can have, not only in sick people, but in healthy people, to actually prevent further deterioration. I remember when I was in college and my professor was telling me that you cannot treat a person that doesn't want to be treated. If someone doesn't want to get well, you cannot change their minds.
Same with coaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
very similar. Yeah.
But nurses are that group of people that really want to help everyone, even though those people are not ready to receive this help. So we just continue to persevere and try to do the best that we can. So we know that we did everything possible. We gave all the information. We tried all of our methods and ways to make this person realize what is the problem, how to overcome it, and how to prevent it. And
So like first, nah, I don't want that, is not where you stop, right? Like you're always trying to find multiple ways and other approaches how to make people to understand what is important for them.
Yeah, so like the really basic example would be that a couple of years ago, when I was working in Dubai in one of the hospitals, I was working in medical oncology. So it's a unit where you have all the medical cases plus oncology, which is cancer and cancer-related diagnosis. So usually after chemotherapy, patients will have neutropenia, which means that the neutrophils that are our white blood cells that are responsible for our immunity drop so low that you literally have no immunity. And a teeny tiny bug, something as basic as, I don't know, a scratch on your hand or a staphylococcus from your skin can really cause sepsis, a huge infection.
And this drop in immunity, it's because of the chemotherapy?
Yes.
Radiotherapy?
Radiotherapy doesn't have that much of a drop because it does not work systemically. So the difference between chemotherapy is that chemo is administered intravenously. Usually it's either through Portacat, which is a small device under your skin on your chest, so we will not damage your veins that much. And it goes in your entire body. So once it gets inside your veins, it gets distributed.
So bloodstream everywhere.
Everywhere. And it will not differentiate whether this is a healthy cell and this is not a healthy cell. So it will go everywhere. With radiotherapy, it's really targeted. So usually, if you would ever go online and check out how the machine for radiotherapy looks like, it's a very big device like an MRI, but it's very targeted. You have someone positioned in one specific place in sort of a cage that will keep your head or your chest or your hips in one place. You have special dots that will be like directional dots, which are tattooed on your body. So every time when you go inside that machine, it will be affecting that particular way every single time. And it works only in this place. It doesn't go systemic.
So very localized effect.
Yes, but the other mechanism of how it works is that whenever you have something destroyed inside your body, it needs to be somehow eliminated from your body. So from radiotherapy, you can have other consequences and other side effects.
Like a waste.
Yes, like waste products, exactly. But when we speak about chemotherapy, which is the most common side effects that you will see is neutropenia. So someone will come with neutropenic fever and you need to start them on antibiotics because you don't know yet what is happening there, but you know that if you don't give the antibiotics, this patient will die.
Because they have no natural ability to...
Exactly. So you need to help in a systemic way to help them just survive this time. And a lot of patients will come and say, no, I will not do that. And you need to convince them to get the treatment because otherwise they will just die. And it takes a lot of effort. Yeah.
So they were okay with getting chemotherapy, but then they are not okay with...
Yes, because again, in 21st century, you have access to so much information. And someone will say that, oh, I read this online that I need to let my body heal on its own. And yes, it's all good and well when you have your own immunity, when your body is actually healthy and will be trying to work out. But when you just knocked out everything alive in your body and you're expecting your body to recover from it as if nothing has happened, it's just not going to work in this way. So eventually, after being in oncology for about 10 years, I felt that there is a very thin line between keeping someone alive and being alive, because those are two different things.
Oh, wow.
And I really feel that I really have a bit of a passion towards palliative care because it's a very, for majority of people from outside, they feel that it's very dark and it's very...
Can you explain what it means?
So palliative care is also end-of-life care. So it's a branch of medicine that helps people die with dignity, with a peace of mind, and helping them have quality of death. So a lot of times in medicine, you will hear that, oh, we're striving towards quality of life. When someone is bedridden, when someone is with an amputee, what can we do to make their life to have an actual quality? When in palliative care, we speak about quality of death because it's very important. It's a very sensitive topic, especially in this region, but it's something that people need to know about, and it's very often overlooked. It's difficult to do because you deal with families and with patients that you know for a fact there is nothing that you can do more in terms of their life expectancy, but you can do something to make their last days on this planet, on this earth, to have a meaning, to be pain-free, to be really, really, really beautiful for them and for their families.
So that's working with a broader group of people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're working with the family members as well. You said days, so this is kind of time frame we're talking about, yeah? Like last couple of days and weeks?
So it's really individual and it depends. So let's say, for example, somebody will come to me with a diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer with metastasis. This person can survive months, weeks, or days. It's really depending on how...
So you can't really tell.
There are some signs that you can tell, but those signs are more towards the end. So, like, you can predict with almost 100% accuracy that a person will live about 7 days to 4 days, this time frame, because there are certain changes that are very, very obvious. Mm-hmm. Someone that is more healthy in this way will be alive for longer. But the important part here is that to not give false hope towards, because again, towards the end, patients will become much more active, much more alive, because there is a huge shift inside of their brain function, inside of their body function, and so on and so forth. But this shift is very, very, very short. So it's like for 1 to 2 days. And the family will feel that, oh, my mom just got better. So can we just continue with the treatment again? Or can we do something? And it's very sensitive topic to discuss these things with the family and with the patient and explain to them why these things are happening. Because again, hope, especially false hope, is extremely cruel, and it's very, very painful towards and the health professionals and the families.
And why is it happening? This spike, like towards, let's say, as you said, better brain function, and overall, like they feel, or they feel, and they also seem more alive, and that happens couple of days before it's
they
over.
die. Yeah.
Why is it? Does medicine has an answer to that? Like, what is actually going on? Is it some hormones, nervous system? What is going on?
It's all together and nothing
obviously,
at the same time,
obviously.
To be honest. To be honest, we don't really have an answer to that. It's something that we observe very often in our patients.
And is this to all patients, regardless of the diagnosis, or is it mostly seen in oncology, or?
Mostly, well, I have been working mostly with oncology patients, and I can say from my own experience what I have seen. I'm not sure with others. When I've been working in ICU with comatose patients or patients that were after strokes or after severe accidents, after even with COVID, with on ventilators, you can see some changes. Of course, it will not be that obvious because they're not awake. They are on ventilators. They are not there. But from what I have seen with oncology patients, I think that I can relate the most and I can elaborate the most.
And can you describe it a little bit more into detail, like what it looks like?
Well,
like they are in a certain stage and then it gets better and then it goes down again. But like what kind of spike of activity we're talking about?
So usually with palliative patients towards end of life, they would be really, really weak. So what you will notice most of the times is that they have almost no appetite and they don't really have the power to do anything, to get out of the bed, to even lift their arms, sometimes even open their eyes. So most of the times they will become really, really sleepy and they would be awake, let's say, 2 weeks before they die. It will be 14 hours of sleeping and then only 8 hours awake. And then every couple of days, this time that they are sleepy will be increasing. And towards day 7, 6, all of a sudden, they are almost all day awake and they want to do things. And they are asking, okay, so I have this family gathering and I would really, really love to go and be there for my family and spend time with them. And this will last for about 1 to 2 days. And all of a sudden, just sharp deterioration, sharp decline down, and 20 hours asleep and only 4 hours somewhat awake. So the person is not really there because towards the end you have multi-organ failure, which means that all the organs inside your body start to shut down. And
so you keeping them alive by machines pretty much?
Not really, not anymore. We used to do that up to 7 years ago when the do not resuscitate was not legal in this region. In this part of the world, same like in Saudi Arabia, there is no do not resuscitate, there is allowance of natural death. So basically it's allowing the body to go on its own terms.
So do not resuscitate basically means that there is a legal approval from the person that, okay, when I die, let me die.
Yes. So the do not resuscitate is my choice to not be revived in case that something happens to me, i.e. my heart stops, my brain stops functioning. In allowance of natural death, it's a little bit different because it is the number one, it's a doctor's order that the resuscitation, the revival of this particular patient in this particular case will not benefit the patient. Because at the end of the day, we do everything in terms of how will this benefit my patient right now and in the future.
And
so
within also his, let's say, family environment and
yes,
so on, in regards to what is the chance of getting back to normal life? And
So, for example, if it is I had a case like that. I had a 95-year-old gentleman that came through emergency. He came with aspiration pneumonia. So pneumonia is inflammation of your lungs because of some bacteria. And aspirational pneumonia happens when you are lying in bed most of the time, so you're basically bedridden, and all the food that goes into your stomach, some of that food goes into your lungs. And because you are flat, it just stays there and it becomes a little bit inflamed, and it causes this infection and inflammation. So this patient came in, we started him on antibiotics, and then 3 hours later, he was coding, which means that his heart stopped and we need to do code blue. I was doing his chest compressions, and when you get trained for basic life support or advanced cardiac life support, you learn how deep you need to push towards on your chest so the heart will get massaged, so revived, and it's quite deep. And
3 to 5 centimeters?
Yes. But the thing is that if you have a patient which is 95 years old with really, really thin bones, that is really, really fragile, you can literally hear ribs, bones cracking under your hands. But you cannot stop because the order from the family and from the doctors was to continue.
And broken rib is better than that.
Yes, but now we need to consider, will it be better in terms of this particular patient, a 95-year-old that, okay, we will revive him after 45 minutes. Most likely he will lose all of his brain function, which was almost not there, and he will be on machines for another maybe months, maybe years, nobody knows, but is it really alive? So a lot of ethical considerations that are coming in medicine, especially when you speak about this region and older people, and is it really disease related? Is it life? Is it death? It's complicated. Everything is complicated.
And now people getting freaked out, right? Because like, oh my God, so they can decide, they can decide if somebody dies or not. Well, first of all, that person naturally would be dead already if there is no for medicine at this level. However, my question, who is making that call? That, yes, we keep this one. No, it's not. I don't want to say it in that terms, but it's not worth anymore.
So in this region, it's the primary physician that will take the choice, the first decision that, okay, I consider that for this particular patient, being revived is not beneficial for him or for his quality of life. But then it needs to be approved by 2 other independent physicians to come see the patient, review the file to see what was the history and what is the prognosis, and then together 3 independent physicians will need to make this decision. The family is, of course, notified and explained what is the rationale behind it. And again, it's not that we discontinue all the treatment. No, we continue. If you need antibiotics, we'll give you antibiotics. If you need blood transfusion, we'll give you blood transfusion. But we don't do anything invasive like surgeries or any acute treatment, or someone that is end stage cancer in this period to give additional chemotherapy, because we know that this treatment will aggravate what is already there, and taking away those precious moments, mostly for the family, because patients by this time, they are so tired. They are tired of treatment. They are tired of excruciating pain that they wake up every morning. They just want to go in peace. And mostly this is done for families because they want to say their goodbyes. They want to spend some more time with their beloved ones. And we just need to consider this by giving them this time.
But family itself is not necessarily involved in the decision making. Because,
No.
you know what the opinion there is anyway, right? Just keep them, so...
Well, I think that it's a lot. It's, again, a big misconception. For some reason, even in the hospitals, everyone thinks that, the family doesn't know anything. They are not informed. They don't know about the medicine. Yes, they don't know, but this is our job as a healthcare professional to explain all the pros and all the cons, because you as a doctor, you did not know everything a couple of years ago when you started. So there was someone that took their time to actually educate you on how to make these decisions. So why do you have this attitude towards patients and their families? Everyone has the right to be informed. And trust me, most of the times, even the most conservative families, they are really, really open when you explain to them how this will affect and what it will lead to eventually if you take one course or another course. So again, it comes all back to communication with families, with patients, with everyone around. Yeah.
So, Sophie, how you got to treat people you treat today? Or deal with people you deal with today?
That was a quick shift, right? So,
I mean, if you want to add something, but I'm like, there's nothing much. Maybe it will come later, and I'll go back to it. But for now, like, this is.
So, I always wanted to help people, and I know that there is always a place and time for everything in our lives. And I felt maybe a couple of years ago that I want to help people prevent their disease, for them to not come to me in that bad shape what they were coming to me. So I went from working in a big hospital, I went to a primary care facility, which is my clinic at the moment, where I'm trying to educate my patients on the right choices early in life to prevent all those diseases that can happen later. And in my clinic now, we are dealing again with diabetes, with thyroid pathologies, with obesity, and a big chunk of my patients right now are overweight and obese patients that come, and not all of them, but a very big portion of them are trying to come for a quick and easy fix. Like everything in our lives, once you hear something somewhere on social media or somewhere on YouTube or in the magazine, you're thinking that, I want to try that thing. It worked for that lady. It will work for me as well.
Yeah.
And
the new, what is it called? The new Hollywood weight loss drug?
The Ozempic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad drug. Don't get me wrong. It's a miracle drug. Honestly, after antibiotics and statins, it's the best thing that has happened in the medicine. But GLP-1s have been around for the past 40 years, and only now, all of a sudden, we start to hear about them everywhere. And again, it's an amazing drug if you know what to do with it. So the way that this drug works,
Before we go into this, what I know that you probably have like a wide variety of people, but age-wise, but mostly, what would you say? Like, is it younger, older? What kind of age group you're dealing with mostly?
Well, to be honest, I have a lot of pediatric patients. So this is childhood obesity, and unfortunately, UAE is one of the top leading countries in terms of rates of childhood obesity.
So like teens already, or even before?
10 to 15, and then the other big group of population is from 25 to 45, and then this mainly would be obesity patients, and diabetics would be 55 and older.
Yeah.
So it's in terms of type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, we have pediatrics, children, and young adults, because
but that's genetics, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You can't. Well, like you. Is it possible to, like, you can also develop it, right? You don't have to be born with it.
So type 2 diabetes is the one that you develop.
Yeah, but type 1, can you develop it?
No, you are already born, you have this genetic mutation. Usually, pure type 1 diabetes would be developing in your really, really young age, about 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. There is another type of diabetes which is called LADA, which is late onset of autoimmune diabetes. It's very similar to type 1, but it is developed much, 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 much later, when you are in your 30s, sometimes in your 40s. There is another type of diabetes that can be dependent on drugs. Like if you have been on a very high dose of steroids for a long period of time, you can develop diabetes. If surgically related, when for some reason you had pancreatic cancer and they removed your pancreas, so you will develop diabetes because you don't have pancreas. You need to have something.
That's pretty logical. Yeah. That one I get. And then there is a type 2, which is the
lifestyle related. So the type 2 is the biggest part of population that has diabetes is type 2 diabetes. And the saddest part is that it's completely avoidable if you actually modify your lifestyle. So you actually need to do basic things: be active, eat healthy, have enough of sleep, and that's it.
And you don't even have to be like a world champion at these disciplines.
You don't need to do anything
too crazy.
Yeah. Like, really eat healthy and whole foods. When I say eat healthy and whole foods, I mean that just wake up in the morning, cook some eggs, cook some chicken, take some fish, rice, pasta, brown rice, bread, potatoes, anything that you like. Just try to avoid refined sugars, sodas filled with sugars, juices, processed foods, and be active. That's it. The problem is that majority of people think that, being active, it means that you need to go for 2 hours run every day or hikes, or no, you just need to learn how to build a good muscle carcass and continue doing that. You don't need more than 45 minutes a day for that. Really, it's not that difficult. The problem is that when you say that it's not that difficult and you actually give working options for people that are that are seeking answers, they don't like it because it's too easy for them. Because something simple that works doesn't sell. Like, I honestly have been also a victim of this mindset, because when we moved to Dubai...
you used to be like a crazy endurance freak, right?
No. I've when we came to Dubai, and I think that it happens to most people that come to Dubai, you really gain a lot of weight, and
okay.
it's because you have so many options out there. You want to try this and you want to try that. Oh my god, this dessert and this. You want to try everything. So I gained about 20 kilos, and my usual weight before coming to Dubai would be around 48 to 50 kilograms. And when I came to Dubai, in the first year, my maximum weight reached up to 75. So it was, it was
really, no way. Oh shit! Oh, that's like another half of you, you know.
Yeah, and the problem is that I've been young and I did not really know what to do. So the same mindset that and ideas that majority of people think that to lose weight you need to do cardio, like you go on a treadmill and it will shed all of your extra weight, which of course I've been going and killing myself on a treadmill and I did not see any results, nothing. I've been dieting like crazy and I have been trying everything. I've been vegan, I've been vegetarian, I've been fasting for 2 days straight, then I've been cleansing with juices and everything that you can imagine. I've tried it.
All the things that doesn't work.
All of the things that are like super trendy online, I've tried all of them and none of them work. And someone can say that, well, you did not do them for a long enough time. I have given each of these diets at least 2 to 3 months to actually see if it works. And none of this
if you
works.
at least start seeing results. Yeah,
but you will start seeing some minor changes, but for the amount of work that you put in, it's not enough.
But yeah, like, you know, if you are able to gain 25 kilos and being 50 kilos lady, yeah, and you're able to gain 25 kilos in a year, then yeah, after 3 months of doing something, the change should be equally significant if you do it right. Yeah.
Yes, at least something. But it was a disaster. And the first time when my partner would always tell me that, oh, you should go to the gym, you should start doing weightlifting, and I wasn't that set as many women until now are, that if I go to the gym, I will do weights, I will become bulky, I will become very manly.
How much bulkier you can get, right? After 75.
And I was really afraid to go to the gym and actually do weights. And the first time when he convinced me to go and do weights, and I think it was the first time when I did proper 3 months of a program with a trainer with actual progressive overload, and it was the first time ever I've seen some results, like results in terms that I could see my upper six packs and my body started to come into shape. And although my weight would stay the same, I could see that in the mirror how I looked, how the clothing stayed on me. It was completely different. And that was, I think, the first time when I thought that maybe checking the weight is not the best way to track your progress. And now working with my patients, and we do body composition for all of them on monthly basis to track the progress. Weight on its own and BMI doesn't give you any information on individual level. So if you want to actually see the progress of your client, of your patient, of yourself, forget about the weighing scale, because it's going to demotivate you, it's going to ruin your mood, and it will not really help you and aid in your progress. You want to track, do a body composition.
I fluctuate 4 kilos.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's
like
normal.
Up and down. Yeah.
And that's normal.
But if somebody is looking for a 300 gram lose or gain, well, it will suck, you know? If out of nowhere there's 2 kilos more than you were expecting. Yeah.
Of course. And it depends on so many factors, especially if we speak about women. I mean, is your period soon to come? Did you fly? Did you eat a bit extra carbs the night before?
Did you sleep well?
Did you sleep well? Exactly. Did you exercise really heavy or not heavy?
Did you have only water or water with electrolytes? Because it can all
exactly.
It can all influence that.
Exactly.
So what is your go-to metric
when checking the
progress?
Well, I would say that the best way is just what you see in the mirror. Honestly, what you see in the mirror and how
it's cheap as well.
It's extremely cheap and it's really effective because you can actually see the progress. The other great way is just to take pictures and see how you change from week to week, from month to month. If you have a caliper, you can do a caliper every, a month. More frequent than a month, it doesn't make really much sense to do.
Do you have caliper?
I have, but I did not use it for a long time.
Okay.
There is.
I learned at school how to take the measurements, but I was never using it.
It's a lot of headache. Well, at the moment in the clinic, I have 2 different body composition machines, and I prefer to do those once every couple of months just to track the progress. At the moment, for me, it's important to check how much muscle I gain rather than losing fat because...
The obsession switched.
Because, again, majority of women think that, I'll go into the gym, I'll become this bulky She-Hulk type of a woman. And when you actually go and you actually try to build some muscle, you understand how difficult it is.
I was always saying, especially when, CrossFit, like it has that connotation of, oh my God, I want to look like them. And it's like, hey, I wish it works like that,
Exactly.
Like, I wish muscle building works that easily as ladies coming to the gym think it does.
Oh yeah, especially that I'm not gonna train my chest because I don't want it to be man-like chest. Do you even realize the amount of work and effort men put in to build a teeny tiny part of that chest? Do you really think that with plates of 10 you can actually build something?
And especially ridiculous is like they don't want to do any weights. Even it's like 2 kilo dumbbell, which is practically less than what you carry in your shopping bag or in your purse. It's just like, no, because it has a shape of the dumbbell. No, I'm not touching that.
No, but the sad part of all of that is when I started my fitness journey, which was about 7 years ago. I would say that properly training, like properly training in the gym with weights and everything, I would say that it's about 4 years for me. 7 years ago, I started looking and trying to understand better muscle protein synthesis and the nutritional part of the things and how muscle works and how hypertrophy works. But I was still not there yet. So I would look on this Instagram fitness influencers, and she looks right now with my knowledge. I would look and I would say that this lady lifts at least 4 to 5 times a week, really, really heavy. Plus she's on some type of a steroid cycle because you cannot maintain that muscle mass naturally. But she's selling her program with resistance band and home workouts.
I've seen
That's
this.
just so. And the worst part is that until now, people are really buying it. And there are a lot of people that are even coming to my clinic when I'm asking them, what are you doing for your daily exercise? They say that, I have this routine. I just bought this marathon from this influencer. People spend money. They waste their time. They become really, really demotivated because it's something difficult to do. If you have to do a workout every day for 45 minutes and it's a really high pace because you need to give them something, well, you feel that, I'm sweating, my heart is pumping, so maybe I'm doing something. Well, in reality, you're just flowing your blood around, but it does not have a massive impact on your physique or on your overall health, because it has a huge impact on your mental health as well. So I have this patient of mine that I've been working with her for almost a year now. So she has, when we met, when we started, she was so against anything. When she heard first time gym, it was a real drama that she will never lift anything because she doesn't want to become big and bulky. I'm like, okay, let's go step by step. Especially when we would go together to the gym, and for her to be kept motivated and see that it's not that scary, I would do all the exercise with her. And when she would see that I'm deadlifting 180 kilos, she's like, how is it possible? You're so small. How can you lift this heavy?
Yeah.
And in 1 year, we managed to get rid of her 12 kilos of fat, pure fat, retaining all of the muscle mass, which is really, really difficult.
It's almost unheard of.
When you are in calorie deficit, and when you are really, really trying to get into that physique. And her feedback was that the most important was the mental health part of the training, because the way that your perception, your mindset, and your overall worldview changes when you start to have a routine. Just simple things like a routine will really, really keep you back on track for many things. And then all of a sudden you feel that you have energy to do more, that you want to achieve more, not only in the gym, but at work, with your relationship, and so on and so forth. It's really like a cascade of events that starts from one small thing and then slowly comes to life.
Yeah. So what would be you, from your experience, personal, also with your clients, the needed ratio of lifting versus cardio when we're talking about, let's say muscle building with some fat loss, fat loss.
Well, in all the honesty, if you want to do just fat loss with muscle building, you don't really need to do any cardio at all if you don't like to do that. So if you like going for walks, if you really enjoy going on a treadmill or cycling, be my guest. Do whatever makes you happy. But if you do that with the idea that this will help me lose more weight, it will not. The only way to lose fat and build muscle is weightlifting. Heavy with progressive overload, changing. 1 week it will be high volume, the other week it will be more intense in terms of weights. So it's a balance between these things, but not cardio. Cardio is not for fat loss.
Yeah, but I think the idea there is because when you look at top endurance athletes, they are extremely lean, but also the volume they do is insane. And if they are just a bit smart, they still need to do some weights, because if you only do cardio, whether it's running, biking, whatever, there is massive overuse strain on the body. Yep. Therefore, if a cyclist wants to be a great cyclist, he needs to do squats as well, because he needs some strength base to put all that endurance into.
Exactly.
Yeah. Same for runners. Yeah, I've seen so many people. It's just like he can run ultra marathons, but he can't body weight squat. Like he can't squat with anything on top of his body weight.
Because his body is not meant.
Yeah,
to do that.
but how much better you could be and healthier in that sense, because obviously if you only do that running, yeah, or let's say a marathon, and that's now marathon, it almost seems in these endurance communities it's not even enough, like first of all the guy died. You know the story of the marathon, right? The guy who ran to warn that Persians are coming. He ran from the city of Marathon to Athens to warn them. He died.
Let's do one thing.
Let's do it again. Sure. Anyway, now marathon doesn't even seem like too bad, right? Like people are like, no, 100Ks and 150Ks and
but why?
ultras.
Why would you do that?
Let's just take a marathon and do a little bit of math. Every step you take is taking load of your double body weight, because there is a flying phase of your body. So double body weight as you run on your joints, on your only one side joints, because you're landing on one side. So knee, hip. So your body weight times 2 for 42,000 steps if you do 1 meter steps, which is not like you're not doing, if you run marathon, you're not doing 1 meter steps. It's usually way less. So that's massive amount of impact. And now imagine that people have a padded shoes. They don't even know how to place the foot correctly because they can't feel it. They do it repeatedly and they do it wrong. The angle's not right. The impact on the knee is just a millimeter, but caving in or out, whatever it is. Hip is twisted a little bit. Of course, they are broken as shit. But if they do some squats, deadlifts, even leg press, okay, forget free weights. Let's just do some isolated exercises, knee extensions to just make also tendons, some holds, so you make tendons stronger. And if you do that, it would massively improve them. And the professionals, the top guys are doing it. So, this is just my rant. I always get,
but it's interesting that when you ask, like, I have a lot of patients that I'm asking, so what do you do for your daily activities? And they're like, I do yoga or I do Pilates. I'm like, okay, and what else do you do? No, but that's it. Okay.
It's passivities, it's not activities.
So, okay, I agree that Pilates, in terms of core strength, is an amazing way to really, really strengthen your core and your deep muscle tissues. But in order to grow them, in order for you to keep them at least at the same level or bring them into shape, you need to stress them a bit more, and yoga and Pilates will not have them. Plus, when you do yoga, you are overstretching very, very often your body. And then there was some research done that those people that do yoga have higher chances of traumas than those that do weightlifting, because those joints are so overstretched that if ever you are to twist your ankle or to have an accident, you don't have the strength to keep that socket joint into the socket. So it's actually long term, it's not that great. You want to do yoga, do it, but in addition to some resistance training.
I always found, because I did some yoga, I think I even have some certification or something in yoga, which says a lot.
How difficult it is to get.
No, I don't want to like, of course, like these official 200, 500, whatever group, it's like the 200 yoga, which means you have to have 200 hours.
Really?
Active to like it's not like to have the proper yoga certificate. It's like you need to also be able to demonstrate certain poses very well. It's like it's not easy at all. Timea is yoga instructor.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so and she was actually practicing yoga before she did CrossFit.
Oh, okay.
And so I did yoga as well, and we had yoga in a gym. Timea was doing it there, and so I did quite some, and hatha and power and different styles, and I always found later and now looking back at it, like it's all good. However, what you see in the studios and what these yoga ladies are putting on people, it's sometimes so advanced that there is no way they are doing it right. They're doing it somehow, or they're trying to do it somehow, but it's just too advanced for body awareness. And I believe people can get fairly strong with yoga because there are the insane holds, right? Like if you hold a warrior pose for 2 minutes and you're okay with it, like that's some isometric strength there. And that's why I believe for this static control and awareness, it's great, but it needs to be also progressively built up, not just like coming to a power yoga studio. Oh my God, I remember this. It was in my university city. I just wanted to visit some yoga studio there. I was like, yeah, sure, I will go, Or I think that's where I also did some seminars to get the certification. And it was a normal class, and it was 1 hour, 15 minutes. I know it wasn't 1 hour, it was more than that. And it was just like, it was paced so fast that I was like 3 steps behind at the beginning, because I was like, I didn't expect that. I thought we will like hold somewhere, but it was power yoga and you just go, go, go. It was basically doing not that fast burpees, for 1.5 hour, because and then bridges and holds and single leg, like it was tough. It was tough as shit. But when I looked around, except of the instructor and maybe 2 ladies, and there was maybe class of 20, nobody was catching up. Nobody was doing it right, or at least right to a point that I was stressed as shit just because I was behind all the steps, because I didn't know the names, and the transitions were taking longer. I was like, oh shit, this is some hard work. So yeah,
it's crazy.
But I absolutely agree with you. It can be great. Also Pilates, also yoga, just do something else as well. Do some natural stuff, like natural, like pick up shit, carry it,
Well, I think that one of the moments that I realized that I need to be really, really strong was when I was working in a hospital. And so we have a lot of bedridden patients, the patients that cannot get out of the bed. But what they can do is the moment that you leave them alone, they will start rolling over and might fall out of the bed. So when this happens and you are alone, and until like you will ring the call bell for some help, but until that happens, you still need to do something. And
waiting.
That time I realized
so
that
a person fell off bed.
Yeah. So you will have a patient that will fall out of the bed, and this Baba was quite old, and he was not that heavy. He was about 80 kilos. And I realized that how handy are my deadlifts coming in, because I managed to lift him off the floor and bring him back in the bed. Nice. Until everyone else arrived. But when during COVID, we would turn our ventilated patients, and actually I wrote one of my university papers on this topic, that obesity is a single most dangerous variable in COVID complications and the severity of disease. So
I think that was also very widely spread later on, because the morbidity was insanely higher in obese patients. Yeah.
So the patients would be, all of them would be above 130 kilos. And for us to turn this patient, we would need 5 people, because you have all the tubes and you have all of the crazy stuff there. But to turn them, so we would need to turn them from their back to their stomach. And it was extremely difficult. So for nurses, it's not optional for you to be strong. You have to be strong. There is no other choice. Like on a regular day inside the hospital, you would walk around 20,000 steps, just running from one unit to another, from one code to another, steps up and down. You have to be physically able to do those things.
When you're talking about some fitness level of nurses in US, I don't know statistics anywhere else, but I know from US, nurses are by far the fattest profession
Yes.
because of the night shifts and lifestyle, and they're well, it's like even they move a lot, right? Or supposedly they move a lot. It's still like the you can see it, right? That the irregularity of meals, because if you have emergency, you can't just take a regular meal. You just taking some snacks with you, and you have a night shift, and you probably have a family you need to take care of through the day. So it's just extremely busy lifestyle. Even you are active at work, you're not going to cover bad lifestyle in the meaning of lack of sleep, irregularity, circadian rhythms.
Well, yes and no, because I had the same mindset towards that I don't have time to eat. I would eat when I was starting to work out. I would eat once a day, and then I would say that I'm on intermittent fasting. That's why I'm eating once a day. So you can always find ways to justify what you do. Nice. But at the end of the day, it's it's the responsibility that you have towards your own body, and you can find 1,000,001 excuses why to not do something. But when I really just decided to try. Okay, I will try. I would put my alarm every 3 hours for 10 minutes to eat a meal. Again, if you do a prep meal, if you really know how many grams you have, a portion of 150 grams of rice and 200 grams of chicken breast is more than enough for you to sustain you for another 3 hours, and you will finish this meal in 10 minutes. Exactly. And this is not like fast eating. It's average eating. Yeah. So every 3 hours
you're not waiting for the order, right? So
exactly.
It's already there.
So every 3 hours to find 10 minutes, trust me, you can find that. You can ask your colleague to cover your patients while you go and eat. It's not such a big deal.
So why you think not all, but like why you think it's so prevalent in nurses?
Mostly is, again, because of all the things that you just said, and not everyone is ready to actually take care of ourselves. So nurses and doctors are people that take the least care of themselves, unfortunately. And then we are surprised that why our healthcare systems are in such a bad condition, but what are we expecting, to be honest? Plus, it's a lot of stress, a lot of strain put on and doctors and nurses, because you will work this many hours, but then all of a sudden you need to stay longer for another 13th or 14th hour, and then you start to overthink, then your night shifts, then you don't have a proper schedule. It's a lot of things at the same time, but again, we need just to do better for ourselves.
So it's the circumstances, but it's also how you deal with the circumstances.
Yep. It's very easy to fall into the victim mindset that it's the system, it's not me, it's not my fault, it's everyone around, but not me.
Yeah, if you see it in the statistics, like, we are the fattest profession, so I just belong, right?
No, but it's honestly, it's extremely unfair for the rest of your team, because again, if you are unable to perform your duties on shift, it means that someone else will need to take over, and it will be a bigger burden for those people. So I had some of my colleagues that would always do only night shifts because, during the day shift, which is extremely busy, they just cannot keep up with the pace. Yes, they possess knowledge, they have the skills, they are extremely good with patients and everything. But when it comes to emergencies, so basically when you have an emergency, we always do mock codes that what would happen in a real life situation, and we need to do everything bit by bit. And we would time how much time it takes for a nurse to run from the nursing station to the furthest room. So the best time would be about 2.5 seconds. The worst time would be about 12 seconds. So this 10 seconds actually play a huge role when you speak about saving someone's life. and it's not really fair for everyone,
Yeah.
and for those nurses as well, because you cannot just tell them, you know what, you cannot work here because of your body shape. But okay, what are we doing to help them, to help people that actually take care of everyone around to be taken care of? Because during your shift, most of the times you will not even have time to go to the toilet, or you have a really, really aggressive family and nobody will protect you. Like, no one will protect you. You need to have confidence in your colleagues to be there to protect each other from everyone around. So it's the system that hopefully will change somehow, but to expect that it will be changed because of someone else, it's a bit naive. So we need to work just to make sure that we take care of ourselves. And this is what I'm telling to all of my patients. You are expecting doctors or hospitals to take care of you? Save you? Yeah. Forget about it. Nobody cares. Unless you care for yourself and about your family and about your beloved ones, nobody else will care. Yeah. The doctors are trained to give you prescriptions. That's it. You go to someone, you tell, I have boo-boo here. Okay, this is your prescription. When was the last time you sat down with a doctor for more than 10 minutes?
Yeah, or the only doctor I sat down with like that is my friend,
No, but in reality, if you actually have a problem, unless it is a surgery, you will not see a doctor in a regular hospital for more than 10 minutes, because the time is done 10 minutes max. And when you actually have questions, you did your blood workup. Okay, what does this mean? Nobody will explain it to you. Everything is normal. Okay, what does normal mean? So a lot of this falls onto nurses as well, because we are the one to explain to patients that, okay, your CRP is your inflammation level, which needs to be in this, and this reference. Okay, this one is too high. Is it normal? Yes, it is normal for your current condition. It will become better with time. Let's keep on monitoring. And what is a little bit concerning is that every time you see something out of the normal range, which is the referencing range, people say that, okay, what can I do for it? Give me a pill, give me a medication, give me something. All right, let's try to look at this. Maybe we can change your lifestyle. Maybe you can eat a bit healthier, sleep a little bit more, do something to not rely on system, rely on yourself. No, it's too much work. That's a little bit sad for me. But we're trying. I'm trying to push with my patients as much as I can.
Yeah. You reminded me. My friend Daniel, he's doctor in Germany. And when you were saying like it's up to you guys to be fit enough, yeah. So he lives like 200 meters from the hospital, yeah, because he doesn't really live there. He lives in Prague, but he's going back and forth. And his apartment is like extremely poorly equipped because he doesn't give a shit. Like, I think he has mattress, some
to sleep.
Yeah, just on the floor. Like the way I would do it, because he's there on his own. He doesn't need a TV. He's not even when he's there. He's mostly at work anyway, or he just goes there to sleep. Sense. Yeah. Then he has a shelf with books, with all his medical books that he's studying, and that's pretty much it. I don't really think he has anything much in the kitchen as well. I think fridge is there, but I don't think that 4 people would have a dinner there. No way. Anyway, but he has rings that he hung on the tree in the garden.
Nice.
And he has sandbag there and some dumbbells, yeah. And he was having his colleagues over for some barbecue in the garden, so they were messing out on the rings. And he was doing gymnastics before, so they're just challenges, whatever. He was jumping backflips there and whatever. And then they found the sandbag. And like, what is this? Why you have it here? And it's like 50 kilos, yeah? And he's squatting with it, throwing it over shoulder, maybe some presses, And he's like, yeah, I lift it and stuff. 3 of his colleagues were not able to even drag it on the floor. You know, he's training with it on his own as a normal tool, and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool! What is it?" And they couldn't even move it from the floor. Yeah. You know, and that's really because I am not around people like that. You know, everybody I am meeting is somewhat capable of certain training. Something, because that's my circle. So hearing this, I was like, what? How are these people alive? You know, how they even made it?
Well, for us is always, you can really see that a person never touched anything heavier than a piece of paper and a pen in their life, is when you're trying to find veins to get the blood and there is nothing, literally nothing. You really need to get deep, deep, deep to find at least a teeny tiny vein from where you need to take the blood
just
from.
playing darts, yeah?
No, wait, I have my ways, but I'm just saying that it's really, really obvious. And the bigger you are, the more difficult it is to find where to get the blood from.
So as you were already saying, when people come to you, you are definitely trying to find some alternatives to pills.
Yes.
Yeah, you want, first of all, lifestyle, that's hard.
Yes.
Right? Because they are not used to it, they don't want to do it, and pill is always the easier option.
Yeah.
For effort-wise, for sure. Can you tell me more about that Ozempic thing? Because that's first of all, it's very like the mechanism of action, how the drug works, what it was made for, and how it should be used, and where are these people actually missing the point?
Okay, so initially Ozempic, which is the trade name, the actual molecule name is semaglutide, which is a glucagon-like peptide. So it's the short name is GLP-1RA, which is a glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist. Ozempic is a glucagon-like mimetic, which means that when it gets into your body, it mimics the way that glucagon-like peptide works. How it works is it's normally occurring in our stomach and in our gut. So it triggers your body to feel full faster and stay full longer. So it works on 2 levels, and on the level of your stomach and bowels and in your brain. So it sends the receptors to tell your brain that you're full, and your stomach is telling you that, okay, I'm full, I don't want to eat anymore.
And where is it produced?
It is produced in our gut.
In the gut directly.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So there's no gland for that?
No.
Okay.
It exists normally, like in all of our bodies. Unfortunately, we are so in disconnect with our own bodies that we stop listening to what our body signals us. So the GLP-1s have been around for almost 45 years. And they were always used to treat type 2 diabetes because number one cause of diabetes is obesity. So if you treat obesity, you treat diabetes. So the way that this medication works, it does not have a direct impact on your blood glucose like insulin will have. The impact on your glucose level is because you're eating lesser, thus your body does not need to produce more glucose.
So it suppresses appetite.
Yes.
Therefore, you eat less. Therefore, insulin drops.
Yes.
Therefore, you preventing or treating, air quotes, treating obesity,
Yes.
and therefore you're preventing diabetes.
Yes. The thing about GLPs is that the drug is amazing, honestly. When we say that it controls your appetite, it suppresses your appetite. For some reason, majority of people think that, I'm going to be anorexic, I will not be eating anything anymore. You're still hungry. You will eat at best maybe 30% lesser than you're usually eating, and you stop to have those carb cravings. So when our patients are on these medications, the first thing that I'm telling them whenever I'm educating them on how to use the medication, what to look for, side effects, and so on and so forth, is that start to listen to your body, because majority of us do not know the feeling of being full. Really, if you ask your friends, even bodybuilders, even some athletes, when was the last time you actually felt in control of your appetite, in control of when you feel that you are full? Barely people will say you that I know that feeling, because most of us will stop eating because we tell ourselves that, okay, this is my portion, I should stop here. Not because we actually feel full. And a lot of issues with nutrition comes from that feeling that we cannot control our appetite. So we eat everything. You don't eat the entire day, then because you're busy, you come back home, you have your dinner, and then, okay, I've had here my 25 grams of protein and my 100 grams of carbs, but I still want something sweet. I want some dessert. I want, I don't know, a fruit here and a fruit there. And then all of a sudden you lie on the couch, you have this huge spike of glucose, then you have this super huge drop because brain fog, you want to sleep, you are in the food coma, and then all of a sudden 1 hour later you're again hungry. That's not how we are supposed to function.
You're like describing when we were going for all you can eat. That's exactly what was happening. You know, Circle Cafe. Yeah. So Circle Cafe, they used to do on the weekends like all you can eat, and a couple of times. Tima doesn't like it much, but I used to go there when she wasn't here or whatever, and yeah, exactly, this was happening. But I mean, you know, as bad as it sounds, I can afford it, you know, because I'm not gaining.
No, but that's
but it's not healthy for sure.
No, but that's the big misconception. We will get back to the affording to eat something extra or not. But about this medication, for most of my patients, the reason why I would ever advise them to go on this medication is when everything is dialed in. Their nutrition, their exercise, their sleep, everything is perfect, but they do not see the results that they want to see because they have been in this state of eating everything, not being acting for so long that now, even though they are doing everything right, and it needs to be at least for 6 months, it's not like, oh, I have done it for a week and then, I don't see results. No, it needs to be for some time.
I was just about to ask how you can control it. If they are actually doing what they're supposed to?
Well, that's their responsibility. My responsibility here is to tell you everything what you need to be doing. I will give you all of the tools because, again, medications are tools. It's not a magic pill. It's a tool for you to get where you are supposed to be. I'm not talking about a girl that wants to lose another 4 kilos just to look nice in that bikini. We are talking about people that are in their 20s. They weigh 150 kilos with 56% of body fat that are actually in metabolic complete disaster. Like nothing works properly in their body.
Okay, so is it even possible that they do, as you say, everything right for 6 months and they don't see any results?
It is. I actually had this. It was my patient. Then he became a good friend of mine. So he came to me first time when almost a year ago because his story is actually very, very sad and scary because he started to gain weight when he was 5 years old, and he would actually gain weight out of thin air. So he would go on fasting and he would lose a couple of kilos, but then back again. He did 2 bariatric surgeries, which means that he did the surgery that would suture your stomach so it will become smaller. And he lost weight for about 6 months, and then he did not change his habits. Everything came back, his weight. Because of that, his kidneys have shut down, so he has very high blood pressure. He needs to have a kidney transplant. He's on dialysis 3 times a week, and he and all of that is because of this massive weight. And he has been always super active. When he came to us, we did his body mass composition, and his muscle mass is amazing, is really amazing. He has really good amount of muscle mass. He came to us, he was 155 kilograms with his height of 160. So it's difficult. And we started him on treatment, but this was the first time when we were just sitting and chatting. And when he was taking me through his day, he does everything. Even with his friends, he would say that, why are you drinking soda? Drink some water, which you barely see around, from big people to say something like that. And he was in a really, really bad place. And finally, with the treatment, with medications, he has lost in the past year. So his target was 110 kilos to get into the transplant list, for them to put him on the list. And now he's already at 99 kilos. So he has his brother that will be his donor. So he has lost almost 50 plus kilos in a year. And he maintained all of his muscle mass. He has his personal trainer and his dietitian, and everyone is working in a tandem just to make sure that he gets there. And he's really, 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 really devoted to stay healthy as long as he can.
And how come he was gaining like that before? Because then when you think about it, then because I'm not really a big fan of calories in, calories out, because, for example, this guy, it's not that, it's the hormonal balance, it's so many other things, right? The nervous system hormones all together. So this is just kind of another case, another proof of it's not as simple as I eat less and I will lose weight.
It's not simple at all, and there are a lot of other mitigating factors that will be helping you or preventing you to get to your goal. So in his particular case, it seemed that he had leptin deficiency, which is our satiety hormone. And if you Google and look at patients, usually it's children that you see they're leptin deficient. They're just small little bubbles. And the moment that they start on treatment, everything comes back to normal. Because he was diagnosed so late, because again, he is in his 40s now, and he started to gain weight 30 plus years ago, and not many people would even think about this diagnosis. So
the science wasn't there.
Exactly. So it was. It's a very sad case, but it's another, and he is very open about his journey and what he is doing to stay healthy and what kind of treatment was he on, and he is, because for this particular case, if he gets off medications, chances are all of his weight will come back. So he most likely will need to be on these medications for the rest of his life. Maybe not at this high dose, maybe on some lower dose, like a maintenance dose, but it's actual treatment. Like, again, obesity is a disease, and obesity needs to have multifactorial approach. But I don't want to say that, okay, just because obesity is a disease, we need to dismiss everything else that leads towards obesity. Well, because this kind of people will be a very small percentage of those that actually are sick.
Because I see, and this is not a medical statement or anything like that. It's just in my head, like I have a hard time understanding that obesity is a disease when I see it as a effect of many other things, but not as a disease on its own, because there's shit ton of other obese people who have no same problem than this guy. They have
Yeah.
different ones. They have different reasons why they got obese. Sometimes it's just, air quotes, just the lifestyle, but sometimes it might be another hormonal or neural problems or whatever, right? So, like, how is it with obesity being looked at as a disease when, like, you can't say that everybody has some, it's a
As a
condition.
disease.
Like,
It is a condition.
It's a condition, but it's like you can't catch obesity, like.
Well, it's not contagious,
Yeah.
for sure.
Even though it runs in the family. Because of the
Well,
habits, I mean.
Well, yes, all the research shows that in families with big parents, you will have big children. And this comes back to the habits, to the culture, to what is your environment. Because our environment shapes us more than our parents in many, many ways. To say that obesity is a disease, but not all obesity is disease. So there is, for example, now maybe 2 or 3 years ago, a Japanese researchers have posted and have been researching the normal weight obesity, which is, again, we say about weight and about BMI. So if you are in this brackets, you are in the normal weight. If you are in this, you're overweight or not. But the best metric to look at the obesity and make a diagnosis of obesity will be by body fat percentage. And in men, it's 25 and above, and women, it's 30 and above. Anything above, you can be in the normal BMI and weight, but your body fat percentage will be high, and you will have normal weight obesity, which can lead to metabolic syndromes, which means that your liver is not working properly, your kidneys are not working properly, your cholesterol is all over the place, you have insulin
Heart is
resistance.
impacted.
Yes, everything will be impacted, even though you are, quote unquote, in normal weight. At the end of the day, it's how you feel and how your body works from within. Because, again, someone with I don't know, BMI of 42 or 45, which is morbidly obese, the blood test can be normal because our bodies are smart and we are trying to decompensate every single time. Something is not working, we will be compensating from other place. And it will be compensating up until a certain point. You cannot go beyond your natural capabilities of your own body. Here is a very difficult topic in terms of ethics because, for example, in Netherlands, obesity is seen as disease and it's covered by insurance. Like in US, I think in US, couple of insurances are covering anything related to obesity. In UAE, nothing is covered under the obesity diagnosis. So in Netherlands, when you have obesity diagnosis, your insurance will be covering your bariatric surgery. And what they got into is a vicious circle when you know that my insurance will cover my surgery. So, okay, I will do my surgery, but I don't know what to do next. What are the lifestyle changes that I need to maintain it? And then you go back being, again, in your very high BMI, you again get a surgery. And, okay, I agree, we need to have something in place to help these people, but let's do it in the same way as with organ transplants. So if you need to have a liver transplant, you need to have a proof that for 6 months before the surgery, you did not drink any alcohol, that you did not take any drugs or so on and so forth. Okay, let's do the same thing for bariatric treatment. Prove for me that for the past 6 months, you actually changed your lifestyle. You went into the gym. You have healthy habits with your food. You work with your psychologist because maybe you have some traumas in the past that have led you to overeat, to have this unhealthy relationship with your food. But we need to have something in place.
So basically, show me you're responsible and you deserve this. Yeah.
Exactly. Because otherwise, okay, we will do that, and then what? Nothing will change. a patient goes into the surgery.
It's only treating
over
the
and over.
it's only
Exactly.
treating the symptoms. It's
Exactly,
not really
exactly.
solving anything, right?
And obesity is actually a very complicated topic because we have, especially in women, and hormones are coming into play more than in males' bodies. So it's a lot. And then post-traumatic disorders, and then postpartum after deliveries, and it's a lot
And
of
menopause.
things. But all of that that's why whenever we speak about obesity and lifestyle changes, you always need to have a psychologist or psychiatrist in some cases to work with your patient, because there are a lot of hidden traumas that will be triggered later on if you don't work with them in the beginning. And medications like Ozempic can help you a lot to not get off the track, especially in the beginning, because once you see your first results, your first progress, you don't want to leave it. You want to continue. You want to see your improvements. You want to continue doing what you're doing just to get a little bit better than you were yesterday. But if you're doing the same thing over and over again and see nothing, chances are you don't want to continue with that.
I have a couple of questions towards the Ozempic.
Yeah.
Obviously, the dose will really influence the
Outcome.
outcome, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, is there any, when we're talking about that GLP, glucagon-like protein? Yeah?
Peptide.
Peptide, sorry, glucagon-like peptide. Is there any relationship with carbs? Because we know from experience and that it's the carbs are the food that we overeat, right? Like it's very hard to overeat protein because you just can't. You just will feel
get
full. Fat as well. Like you're not like infinitely biting bacon. There are people like that, but that's more rare than But whether it's sweet carbs or trans fats like chips and all that, it just goes forever, and you can binge on that a lot. So is there any direct relationship of the Ozempic, GLP, and carbs specifically as a food group, or not really?
So when we speak about binge eating and what we overeat most of the times, it's not really carbs. It's a combination between fast carbs, refined sugars, and fat. So this combination is something that you can eat nonstop. So if I will give you just a boiled potato, you will eat and you will be full. If I give you a boiled potato together with some salt and some butter, you can eat nonstop. So it's actually
changing the variables.
So it's actually the combination of things. So whenever you really want to have a binge on something sweet, I would rather have you eat a pure carb without any fat, because you will feel full much faster than if you would be having some chips or chocolates, because chocolate is again a combination of fat and
chocolate is actually more fat than carbs most of the time.
So if you want something sweet, eat something sweet. Don't eat all of the pastries and this and that, because those are the things that will actually trigger you to eat more and not feel full at all.
These motherfuckers in food industry, they know this so well. Because most of the processed food is about that, right?
Yeah.
They have fucking labs where they are finding the best ratio so you can go forever.
The hyper palatable foods. Actually, Dr. Lane Norton, he's really great into all the nutrition advice and what to eat and what not to eat. He speaks a lot about what combination of foods are actually triggering you more towards the binge eating and overeating overall. About the hyperpalatable foods, honestly, if you go onto a cleanse in terms of the spices, in terms of added sugars, salt and pepper, at least for 2 weeks, you will feel any food that you're eating so extra tasty that it's a little bit too much. You won't enjoy it that much, to be honest. Same thing like with sugars.
So
Once you're
like you will become so sensitive to it, yeah?
yes. So, like for example, you are not drinking refined sugar, right? You're not adding any sugar for how many years?
Drinking.
Yeah, like tea with sugar, coffee with sugar.
15 years.
Okay, so if I would give you now, I don't know, a Coke Zero or a Coke.
Oh yeah, it's
Coke,
disgusting.
you will feel it immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
The same thing would happen if you are used to eat, I don't know, just chicken breast without any spices or just with a little bit of salt, or I would give you I don't know, maybe some chicken tenders from McDonald's or something.
Yeah, McNuggets.
Of course, they are added with some carbs on top of that, but they add all of those spices that you don't feel that it's real. And with time, if you do it long enough, you just don't feel that urge anymore to go and stuff yourself with things that you don't really enjoy. You start to be much more mindful about what goes inside your mouth and inside your stomach, because
that's why also stuff like ketchup and stuff is so dangerous, right? Because it's changing the taste a lot.
Yeah, but I cannot let go of ketchup. Ketchup is something that I cannot let go of.
And that's the thing, right? Like if you have, let's say, this chicken and you have the ketchup, well, you dip it there every time.
Yep.
So you just basically numbing the whole system.
All of your taste buds. Yeah. But with Ozempic, I'm not sure about the direct relationship. I know that patients report that they don't really feel those cravings that they used to have before, like for something really, really sweet, or someone has this habit of having their snacks with tea and some biscuits every evening. Once they get on medications, they feel that they don't really want to eat those carbs much. And if they overeat, if they go beyond the point when they feel that they are full, they become really nauseous and sometimes vomiting. So they try to avoid these combinations of foods. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure how exactly this works, but Ozempic is one of the medications now that has been completely destroying the narrative of carb-related obesity, because even on dense carb diets, patients that are on Ozempic are still losing weight. So I know that you don't like calories in and calories out, but it's exactly what it proves, that it's calories in and calories out.
I'm not saying that calories in and calories out are not important. I'm just saying that for many people, there is much more to that story than just that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like
100%.
And I just don't like that simplification, that when people think like, it doesn't matter where I get the calories from, as far as it's below my energy need,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that pisses me off, because I know that for some people it can work. And you have, like they literally have McDonald's and burgers and, like whatever they want. Not like burgers are bad, but like I have burgers, but not with the bun. Yeah, let's say. But what I find also somewhat dangerous for, if some influencer does this and they're like, no, but it's okay. Until you are in the calorie deficit, you can eat whatever you want. And I was like, well, how the fuck is this true? So if I have the same amount of calories, it doesn't matter if I eat apple or apple pie, or it doesn't mean if I eat chicken breast with vegetable and grilled pumpkin or whatever versus fries and a burger. Like, no, it matters. If we only talking about the energy balance, maybe, but the health impact is massive because that's processed food, and and then also if we go only calories in, calories out, then does it matter how much protein you have? Can you have all the energy only from carbs? Like, that's fucking bullshit, That's not how it works,
Yeah, it's there are many school of thoughts about all of these topics, but calories in, calories out counts. Everything needs to. Most of the calories should be coming from your protein, and I think that the trick here, especially with beginners that are only starting to try to get their diet in check and everything in check, you need to be more strict in the beginning, because in the beginning you don't even know how much you're spending. You don't know how much you're eating. You can, every time when you say that, oh, I'm going to have a cheat meal. Okay, on whom are you cheating?
Exactly.
Because your cheat meal is cheating on yourself and on your progress. You want to have...
And health many times.
Exactly. Yeah. And okay, I'm not saying that you need to be super strict with yourself every single day, 5 days of the year, but you need to have a goal. Okay, I have my goal to achieve, I don't know, this percentage of body fat. I want to have this physique, and I want to be feeling as great as I can, because when I was 25, I did not feel great, but I know that in my 35, I will look better than I was before, and I will feel better, and I will be more capable of doing things. All right, then go towards your goal, because every time you're cheating on yourself and on your goal. Nobody says that it's easy, but once you know why you do the things that you do, it becomes quite easy. It's pretty simple, and this is the biggest
making the choice, right?
Yeah, but again, this is the biggest misconception and biggest lie that everyone tells, that things are not that simple. Things are complicated. Actually, they are quite simple in life. If you want to achieve something, find ways to do that. There are a lot of people around that actually are willing to share their knowledge, to share their experience, and are ready to be there to help you get better on whatever topic you're looking for. Just reach out and be genuine, and just start doing things.
Yeah.
That's the most difficult. It's not actually continue, like, to stay on track is difficult, but to start sometimes is the most difficult thing for many people.
Yeah, I want to ask towards the calories. Mm-hmm. How precise it usually is counting the intake, and from your experience? I know that you do it on a little bit different level because you're a clinic, you're doing it for clinic. But like I heard now, I know how much of this is true, but amount of protein in food is determined by the amount of nitrogen.
Yeah,
and supposedly some companies.
Yeah, that usually goes towards protein bars.
Yeah, not only the supplement companies, but basically some companies found out that there are ways how to increase nitrogen content on the tests without actually increasing the protein content. So basically what you see on the label is not precisely what you get. Again, because it's a little bit cheaper and whatever. So,
well, the best way to avoid that is to eat whole foods. You don't need to look at the label when you are buying a chicken breast or a fish fillet or a beef fillet or eggs. Steaks, yeah. So, like, you don't need to look at the labels. And when you look at the labels, chances are that something is with conservatives, and so on and so forth. So just try to stay with whole foods. You want pure protein? Buy a protein powder. Just buy an iso protein. That's it.
Unflavored.
You're good to go.
Ideally unflavored and...
Well, whatever makes you happy. To be
honest. but you can have a lot of artificial shit in it as well. So
well, whatever works for you, whatever works for your body. Find something that your stomach will be happy with, your gains will be happy with, and but look for whole foods. We are so fixated on okay, I will read this label because this one says that it has 25 grams of protein and the other thing has 20 grams of protein. Just go and buy a chicken breast, cook it on your stove. When was the last time? Honestly, it's just concerning how many people are ordering the takeaways and not even using their stoves in their apartments. Like, how do you actually know what goes inside of your body?
This is the thing that how it gets out of control very easily. Also with, I find actually tracking theoretically. I don't track calories. I track my protein, but I don't track calories. But tracking expenditure, I find way harder than actually tracking what comes in, because that is all written there. If you want to know how much protein is in 100 grams of beef, just put it into Google literally in these words, and it will spit the answer to you. Or use ChatGPT. It's all there on roughly. But then this is the thing. Then you can get estimation of what your basal
metabolic rate
is. Then what is your activity level? But then you can be easily off 2, 3, even 500s, right?
Yep.
And that's where the just go and try comes to, like you said. But this is a tricky part where you said like, just go and try what works for you. But that doesn't mean going and doing it once. It means sticking to it.
You need to do it for
experimenting, like you said, right? Like at least 3 months, 2-3 months experimenting. Like, okay, is it moving towards where I want, or am I stagnating? It's just super simple, right? Is it same, better, worse?
The other hole that a lot of people are falling into is trying new things all the time. Like, if you want to see if a routine in terms of exercise works for you, or a routine in terms of your food works for you, make yourself a meal plan, cook the same meal every single day for at least a month, do the same exercise every single time for at least a month, and then you can make a decision whether it works for you or not. Because you will be eating today, I don't know, eggs for breakfast, then chicken rice, and then steak for dinner, and then all of a sudden, 3 days later, you're eating muesli for breakfast, and then you're having some cakes and stuff, and then this thing doesn't work. No, you need to do the same thing every single day. And when you actually do meal preps, you realize sometimes how much more or how much less than you are supposed to be eating, you're eating. Because when we snack, especially when we go out, you can easily overeat and not even pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm. And sounds boring. Yeah, well, you want the results,
actually,
right?
It helps so much with your time management.
Oh, but I mean, many people.
You don't need to think about what
many
you're
people,
eating.
you tell people that you eat exact same thing every day for a month, and they're like, "What?" And they freak out because they can't imagine doing that.
I've been eating the same thing for the past 5 years, maybe, with like rare exceptions.
Yeah, that's why you look the way you look, and that's why you feel.
You're getting used to it, and you actually enjoy it. Like the last time when we went on a staycation, it was in May, and for 5 days I was away from my stove and my meals, and I could not wait to get home and eat my own food. I don't like eating outside. I really don't.
Okay, I want to ask you about your food, just out of curiosity, like how you eat. But before that, can you tell me, so we just finished the Ozempic, what people do wrong and why it's misused the way it's misused? No, not why, but like why is it not working the way it should if people are not following the recommendations?
So the number one reason is that people think that it's a magic pill. So I'm going to take this drug. I will be sitting on a sofa watching TV and doing nothing. And suddenly I will be shedding all of my extra weight. And they are losing weight, but the weight comes from muscle. So whenever we are losing weight, we're always checking from where we are losing the weight. Is it muscle or is it a fat mass? And if you lose from muscle mass, then our muscles are the most energy expensive after our brain in terms of the energy that they need to just stay alive.
But you can't grow the brain, you can grow the muscles. So you can increase it that way. Yeah.
So whenever...
What is the normal ratio of losing, which would be optimal?
So the usual natural way of losing is somewhat, which is acceptable, it's 50-50. So 50 from muscle, 50 from...
that's still considered acceptable?
Yes.
Okay.
If we speak about somewhere with athletes or someone more professional, it would be 100 from fat or 90% from fat and 0 from muscle, which is very, very rare and very, very difficult.
That you have to also have kind of predisposition for that and do everything really right. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So most of the times it will be, the average will be 70-30. So 70 from fat and 30 from muscle. But when we see patients that don't do anything, you will have 70 from muscle, 30 from fat. We actually saw, I had some patients that have lost weight, but when we do body composition, we see that 100% was from muscle, and they have gained some fat on top of that. Yeah. So it's really...
this is why weight loss is a very dangerous term, because you don't want to be losing weight.
Yes, you want to be losing fat, and these are completely different things when it comes to your composition and how your body is shaped.
When you said that 70-30, that's very interesting, because I know that when people are getting obese and towards, not like I'm overweight, but like obese, morbidly obese, for every 3 kilos of fat they gain, they also gain 1 kilo of muscles, because they just need something to support it.
Of course.
So and that's exact same ratio. Yeah, that's exact the same ratio of 75% is the fat and 25% is the muscle.
It's actually very, very scary when patients are losing in this way, because they eventually, if they continue on this trajectory, they will have very bad outcomes in terms of their health, because everything starts to just work all over the place. And instead of being healthy because you are losing weight, you are becoming more sick because you're losing muscle and gaining more fat or retaining the same amount of fat.
I've heard this online where somebody was saying that the problem of these days is, or this, what we're discussing is not necessarily people being overweight, but they are under-muscled, and therefore the overweight and too much fat happens because they are weak, inactive, not enough muscle that would keep the energy balance, and leads to that. So that also make absolute sense with what you were saying, with focus on the strength training and focus on the muscle building more than just mindless cardio.
Especially when you are on medications like Ozempic, it's a must. You cannot not train. Resistance training needs to be a part of your routine as a must. You cannot go on without it. Even, let's say that you are on medications, but you don't want to do weights, you want to do cardio only. It's not going to work. It will be better than not doing anything, but you need to have your resistance training in. That's 100%. Mm-hmm. Plus, this is the time that you need to take to actually learn about your own body. How much food does your body need? Do you actually need? Because again, we are eating very, very often with our eyes, with our minds, not with our stomachs. Like, you go to the shop and you are hungry, you want to buy everything, you want to put everything in your mouth, and you don't really listen to what your body needs. When you are on these medications, you can actually pay attention to how much exactly food do you need. Do you need, I don't know, 200 grams of rice, or you need 150 or 100 grams of rice? Do you need more protein? Do you need more fats or carbs, and so on and so forth? You start to feel full. You start to listen to, okay, I have had half of my portion and I'm full. That's it. This is how much I need to eat. And you would rather have these small portions more frequently throughout the day than having one huge meal and then you wake up with acidity and then you feel nauseous and then you feel really, really bad. So it's things that you need to actually work on yourself and input some work, when even though you are on medications that are supposed to help you out. They will help you out, but it does not remove the responsibility from you as yourself, taking care of your own body, of your mind, of everything together.
So it will kind of like tune down the signals.
Yeah.
Or like the extra noise, and you can kind of more focus on what you need.
Yep.
And what body needs.
Yeah, but the most important is that for you to actually pay attention to the things.
Yeah, of course. Obviously.
Your body can tell you, send you all the signals in the world, but then you're like, oh, whatever.
yeah, it's a very valid point. Sophie, tell me just towards the end now, just fairly briefly, or go as deep as you want to, but up to you. What is your training like, and what is your food like?
So at the moment, I train 4 to 5 days a week. I have 2 to 3 lower body days and 2 upper body days.
So it's more like a traditional bodybuilding kind of split.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I want to look good in my bikinis. I want to look good in whatever I wear. So that is one of the main reasons why I do more bodybuilding type of training. I want to stay strong, and I really like to hit my PRs and see my own records, how much weight I can lift. It really makes you proud of yourself and of the work that you are doing. So now I'm doing a lot of mainly the bodybuilding part. So on Mondays, it's the glute day. Tuesday is back, chest, and abs. Wednesday is a day off. Thursday is legs, so it's quads and hams. And Friday is shoulders, arms. And on Saturdays is the second glute day.
Second glute day.
Yes.
All for glutes.
Everything for glutes.
And when you do this, the rep scheme, or what kind of
So I do periodization, and I would do usually a month with high volume. So I would do medium weights with 12 to 15, 20 reps. And then I would switch, and same exercise would be done on lower reps, which is 10 to 12, but higher intensity. So it will be really, really heavy. I don't...
Always like 4 sets? 4 or 5 sets?
Always 4 sets, 4 sets. Yes. I have found with myself, because again, everything is a trial and error. In life, in medicine, in training, in dieting, you need to find something that works for you. I found that for me personally, if I do volume which will be lesser than 10, even if it will be really, really heavy, I do not get the outcomes that I want to see. So the hypertrophy will not be that great. The shape will not be that great. So I prefer to go 10, 12 minimum, and then I can go as high as 20 reps and heavy as I can get.
And let's say when you say your glute day, yeah, how many exercises do you do? Do you do supersets or just hit one exercise then move to the next one?
I used to do supersets, but I found that I cannot recover as fast. Although supersets are great if you are really time restrained. Usually the workout will be about 40 to 45 minutes. And it's 4 exercise. Yeah. It will be 4 exercise, and there is always the glute bridge. It's always a must, and squats are always a must, and the Bulgarian split squats. But you need to be mindful with your knees and with the form and technique. You cannot just jump into those things, and always start.
Especially not the weights you're doing.
Now, I remember my old videos when I was glute bridging with 20 kilos, and then slowly you go up to 200, and you're so proud of yourself that you can actually do that.
Nice. Yeah. And is it a Smith machine or is it a free barbell?
I used to do Smith machine in my old gym because we did not have anything else. But in the gym that I work out now, we have amazing machines. So we actually have glute bridge machine. So you don't need to have a free weight. You don't need to have anything
easy setup.
And machines are great for isolation and to actually feel the muscle. And yeah, it's amazing what you can do with your own body.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
In terms of diet, it's very flexible now. So that's the thing that everyone thinks that, oh, it's so difficult. You always need to stay on track. You always need to do the same thing over and over again. But once it's a part of your life, you don't notice it anymore, that it takes effort. It doesn't take effort because it's same thing like, I don't know, waking up and taking a shower. It's the same thing. It's just part of your life that you do and you enjoy doing. The food stays the same. My daily protein intake is about 120 grams because again, I'm taking 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So my weight now is about 57. So I take roughly 120. About 300 grams of carbs because I need my energy for my workout.
Shit. And that's like, I have that in a week.
No, this is a different misconception that a lot of people think that, okay, if I need to lose weight, I need to cut all of my carbs. No, you don't.
No.
You just need to know what to eat and when to eat.
I don't do it because I would need to cut or anything, or because I want to be lean. I don't have a good reaction with carbs. It just doesn't work for me, especially complex carbs. Like fast carbs, fruit and stuff and that, I do, but complex carbs, no, not at all. Which means that I'm fairly limited, but like I have an immediately reaction, like on the skin, or I will have a fever blister or something if I eat potatoes, pasta, anything. So I know it doesn't work for me, and so I don't do it.
All of us are different.
Exactly. And look, you do 300 grams a day, which literally, like, I don't really have it all calculated, but I could easily be around 80 to 100 a day. Yeah, because I'm not really intentionally avoiding it, but there's not many of the categories that I'm actually taking from, what I can eat. So, so what you have in one day, I have in 3 or 4, but I am feeling good. You are feeling good, so, Yeah,
well, that's the whole premise of it, how you feel and how you perform. Like, I've tried when I was cutting and before experimenting with all the amounts of carbs, what works for me personally, my gym gains were very, very slow increasing the weights. The moment I added a bit more of carbs, boom, you have the energy, you have this explosive energy, you can push, you have the drive you want to do, you have the pump. It's amazing.
What you have the carbs from? Like what is the source usually?
Rice, pasta, bread, potatoes. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much all of them anyway. The basic ones.
All the basic stuff.
Is there any food you avoid?
No, not really. I eat whatever I like to eat. There are just foods that I don't really like the taste of it, so I will not eat them. Like, there was a time when I was really, really loving shrimp, so I had too many. So now I cannot have shrimps because I just don't like.
Yeah.
Or like, for some reason, egg whites. For 2 years, I've been eating eggs every single day, and now I feel that I just need to have a pause from eggs. I don't have that with chicken and fish for some reason, but with and beef, but with eggs because because they have this specific smell that the protein gives. Maybe because of that, I don't know.
Do you have meat every day or not necessarily? Yes.
Yes, meat every day. I'm a carnivore.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I don't need to have meat every day. I can, but if there is no meat and it's only eggs, it's all right. You know, like I'm not obsessed. Like I need to have meat.
I don't feel full without meat. Okay. Like I need to have my meat because I need
10 eggs. You will feel full.
or maybe like
because you know when you think about it, like okay, what would be your portion of chicken when you have chicken?
About 150 grams.
150 grams. So that's around 30 grams of protein, let's say roughly. Yeah. So to get 30 grams of protein from eggs, that's 5 eggs. Would you eat 5 eggs on one sitting?
Yeah, I was eating 7.
There you go, nice. Good. Well, because people many times tell me like the egg amount is crazy, you know. But I'm like, okay, so I have 10 eggs, and I have 500 gram steak. I still got more protein from the steak than from the egg, so it's it's not that much, and if you don't like them, you just made them wrong, you know.
Yeah, find your way. Again,
yeah, exactly.
Find your way. Find something that works for you, what you like, One of my favorite recipes ever is cottage cheese pancakes because the true cottage cheese, it has casein, so it's the slow absorbing protein, and to have it as dinner, it's amazing. Just perfect.
Awesome.
But you need to find the real cottage cheese. Usually it's the Russian brands like Svala or President, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the real cottage cheese.
Is there any supplements you take?
We're taking omega-3, vitamin A and D, up to women, liver refresh, kidney refresh, ultra minerals, and vitamin E.
Is there any supplement you would say that everybody needs?
Vitamin D for sure.
Okay.
100%.
Even
and omega-3 fish oil.
Even orally?
Yeah.
Vitamin D?
So it depends. You need to know how your body is absorbing vitamin D because what happens is that with some patients, with some people, you don't really have a good absorption from your stomach and from your bowel. So you need to check your bloods every now and then to know what works for you. Yeah. If the oral ones is not working, you can always get an IV or IM. That's not a problem at all. And always get in the sun.
That's what that would be my first option before IV. Going to the sun.
Which is much, much better because even for those patients that have malabsorption from vitamin D, even the IV one what works is going in the sun. So that's the best.
That's the best. Well,
That's the best.
nature somewhat, somehow fucking knew it. Sophie, is there anything you want to add?
No, good. Thanks.
All good? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much. And there is so much more that we could cover, but we'll keep it for the next time. And we might do some more specific topics with you.